The following program is presented by the AMP Podcast Network.
Yeah, this is Jackson Castle, the Universal Soldier, the Hybrid Weight, the Jacks of all trades. You're listening to the AverageMarks podcast.
Broadcasting from down on the Bayou, it's the AverageMarks Pro Wrestling Podcast, a proud member of the Roar Network, powered by thegorillaposition.com. And now your hosts, Michael Leander and Patrick Fry.
And welcome to episode 70 of the AverageMarks Pro Wrestling Podcast. We're in the Collar and Elbow Studios. And remember, you can get 10% off your entire Collar and Elbow brand.com order when you use our code TheAverageMarks. And they're always having sales. Plus, you add the 10% on there, you got yourself an amazing deal. Not only do you help out Al Snow and his awesome wrestling streetwear company, you help out your boys, too, because they pay us a little bit as well. So you save a little, we get paid a little. It's a win-win situation, and everybody gets really cool gear like this that I'm wearing right here. YouTube stream, Twitch, and Periscope, seeing it right now. All right, Patrick, what we got up for today, dog?
For episode 70 today, this is, what's the date today? April 13th? Yeah,
13th.
That's right. It's written right here on my computer. April the 13th, 2019. We're basically going to talk about WrestleMania Weekend and WrestleMania Week and whatnot. NXT Takeover New York, an amazing show.
Yes.
G1 SuperCard, Ring of Honor, New Japan. They had a historic show at Madison Square Garden. WrestleMania, in my opinion, off the charts, was amazing. And then a lot of fallout from WrestleMania as well. And then, of course, they had the Hall of Fame, some big incident there. So there's just a lot to get into, and we only have an hour at least to do it. So we're going to try and fit it into an hour if we can. Obviously, like you said, before we started, we're going to let the KEZM listeners going. We'll keep talking for as long as, we have stuff to talk about, which we do. We have a lot to talk about. So that's basically what we're going to talk about today on the Average Marks, episode number 70 for April the 13th, 2019.
All right, we want to thank all of our listeners all across the world on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope. We want to thank our Southwest Louisiana listeners on radio, 1310 AM, KEZM, or KEZMonline.com. Man, what an awesome weekend. For all the news and everything that went down, you can check it out at our website, AverageMarks.com. That's your central hub. Wherever you consume podcasts, we are there. Just search the AMP Pro Wrestling Podcast Network. We're debuting a new show this week. Pro Wrestling Roundabout's going to be on there. Their new show is probably going to drop on Monday. Of course, you got us, and then you have our bros over across the pond in England, WrestleCast, AMP Pro Wrestling Podcast Network. Check it out on your preferred podcasting platform, except iTunes, because they're still being a bunch of douches, and they won't let us on because we got to answer 800 questions just for their engineers to say, we don't know what's going on. I don't know why you can't log on. Well, everybody that tries can't log on. It can't just be me, bro.
Marcus Talbert in the chat saying Kofi. Yeah, that was one of the biggest stories of the weekend. We'll dive into that when we talk about WrestleMania. But first...
Before we get started...
Go ahead.
I got me a new bang today. I never tried the pina colada before, so...
Pina colada, huh? That pina colada is an alcoholic beverage, right?
Yes. This bang is for you.
Is that an alcoholic bang?
No, it's not.
Oh, so it's non-alcoholic? Well,
no.
It's just pina colada flavored. Casey Jones, 337 Entertainment. What up, fellas? Casey Jones.
Oh, my God.
What? Is it good?
Do you drink after another man?
Nah, I'd rather not.
I don't blame you, but this is amazing.
It's amazing. Well, I've never been a fan of energy drink. That's what that is, Bang. But I've seen a lot of people lately drinking these Bang energy drinks, and I don't know. I've never tried any energy drink because I just don't. I don't know. I took a sip of one time, but
oh my God,
I didn't like it, so that just ruined it for me. Sleeping Angels, hello, Sleeping Angels. We appreciate you waking up and and joining us in the chat. Marcus
and for
Talbot,
being an angel.
Marcus Talbot cream soda. That's what it tastes like to me. He's talking about the pina colada. You talking about the pina colada Bang? Well, I know you're a big fan of Bang because you bring them, all the time here. So when we record the podcast,
so good.
So anyway, it is. Anything else you want to add to the?
No, be a sponsor.
Be a sponsor. Yeah, but come on, Bang.
We're pimping you out for free. You might as well pay us.
Throw us some money. Look at that. We already got people talking about you in the chat and everything.
Yeah.
And we even woke up Sleeping Angels. So,
the power of Bang.
So give us some money, please.
Self high five.
All right. Speaking of money, I tell you what. WrestleMania Weekend started off with a bang,
yes,
and NXT, in my opinion, was money.
Holy cow.
Because what a show NXT TakeOver New York was. Every time NXT TakeOvers come around, they say, oh, that's the best one ever, that's the best one ever. And I would say over the last year, some of them have been questionable because it feels like,
How dare you?
Well, hold on. Let me finish. Getting to a point where I'm saying they were questionable whether or not they were the best takeovers ever, because let's face it, there's some takeovers in the past. They've set the bar so high. I mean, even NXT Takeover New Orleans last year for WrestleMania weekend, I mean, set the bar so freaking high that you questioned, and like I said, it's not like you doubted that they were the best ones ever. You just questioned it because every NXT Takeover got better and better. But I tell you what, I think Brinkman, because I watched it, I went to Brink's over the weekend for WrestleMania weekend, and we watched it together, and he almost undoubtedly said that may have been the best NXT Takeover ever. And I tell you what, it started off with a bang. The whole weekend, I mean, this match right here set the tone. The NXT Tag Team Championships, it was Hanson and Rowe War Raiders taking on Aleister Black and Ricochet. Oh my goodness, what a match that was. And I was, joking with Brinkman. Of course, Hanson and Rowe retained the NXT Tag Team titles. Ricochet and Aleister Black, they sort of get a send-off, so to speak, after the big, and that crowd was hot that night. I tell you what, in the Barclays Center at TakeOver, that crowd was so hot, and it was amazing. I mean, they were singing along to Aleister Black's entrance, and it was so loud and amazing. I tell you what, these four guys went in there and they set the bar. I mean, so high for the entire weekend. They set the tone.
People have accused WWE of pumping in crowd music before. Do you think they pumped in people singing along?
I don't know how they. I mean, I guess they have crowd mics. I guess I could see how they could pump up the crowd mics, so to speak. But that NXT
they
Takeover
play an extra
crowd
track on the speaker system.
I don't know. You can go back and listen to it. I mean, it sounds like it's the crowd. Because,
I know. That's what I thought too.
Because whenever
I was singing along.
Because whenever obviously Aleister Black's entrance, he rises up from the whatever you want to call it, the thing that brings him up. I mean, just the crowd, you could tell they were like just ready for NXT TakeOver, and rightfully so. NXT TakeOver, every single time they go out there and have an NXT TakeOver, whatever else is happening, whether it's G1 SuperCard, whether it's WrestleMania, whether it's a pay-per-view, any other show, NXT TakeOver steals the weekend. And last weekend, in my opinion, was no exception. Even after G1 SuperCard was over, which was a great show, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit, the best show overall, top to bottom, all weekend was NXT TakeOver, hands down. And maybe it's because they only usually do 5 matches, but
and it's short and sweet. It's not drawn out for hours like these other shows.
Yeah. Casey Jones and Marcus Talbot, I think they're still going back and forth on that. They're talking about the bang. Casey Jones said, Pina Colada is a popular flavor. Rainbow Unicorn, Blue Raz, and Sour Heads are my favorite. Marcus says, yeah, I like the Rainbow Unicorn. I like the Banster Berry, too. Is that what?
I haven't tried that one. Purple Guava and Rainbow Unicorn are my favorite right now, but Pina Colada is definitely in the mix now. This thing is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
That first match, you said it set the tone.
Yes.
And I think the reason why it set the tone, we know what Aleister Black's about. We know what Ricochet's about. It was Hanson, that big tub of goo flying around like a cruiserweight.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the most athletic big men you will see in professional wrestling. He's up there like with the likes of Jeff Cobb, and I think he's even a little bit bigger than Jeff Cobb. But, man, that dude, he moves around like, he weighs, I can't even tell off the top of my head what he weighs.
Probably close to 400,
I don't know. No, he didn't weigh that much. I would say he weighs maybe, I don't know, if I had to guess, around 300, give or take.
You think he's probably 6'3"?
I really don't know. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
So he's a big dude, and he's that fat.
But just hypothetically, he's 300 pounds, but he moves around like he's 175. I mean, it's unbelievable, the athleticism that both Hanson and Rowe have, because they're both some big dudes. They're not small dudes by any means. Granted, they're not obese, but there's some big dudes, and it was really impressive. There was a spot in the match where I think it was Hanson, the bigger one, and Ricochet caught him like midair. And Ricochet's not a big dude, but I mean, he's shown signs of strength like all the time. And there was a spot where he kind of just caught him and threw him, and that match was absolutely amazing. Unc Dave gave it, let's see, 4.5 stars.
4.5.
Well, I would have given it I don't know. I would have gave it at least 4 and 3 quarters. It was arguably the best match of the night, but any of these matches could have been match of the night, in my opinion, with the exception of the women's match, which was not a bad match by any means. I'm not saying it was a bad match.
If that match was in New Japan, Dave would have gave that like a 7.
Yeah, exactly. That's what somebody had said about Gargano and Adam Cole. We'll get into that in just a minute. The next match, another great match, also got 4.5 stars. The Velveteen Dream retained his North American Championship against Matt Riddle. Now, let me tell you something. Matt Riddle looked extremely impressive in this match. I mean, Matt Riddle was in control for probably 75-80% of this match, and Dream found a way to win the match. So it was another beautiful match. You know, I was sitting there after the tag team title match thinking, you know, who the hell's going to want to follow that? Like, I mean, that tag team match was amazing. Granted, Velveteen Dream and Matt Riddle didn't quite put on the match that they did, but I tell you what, Matt Riddle, man, that dude looked extremely impressive, and I think he has a very bright future in professional wrestling. Man, dude, he looked, in my opinion, best individual, like just most impressive in my opinion. I guess that somebody that I guess broke out that night, I would give it to Matt Riddle. He was absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait to see, you know, him have matches with the likes of a Gargano and Adam Cole and even, you know, an Aleister Black and a Ricochet, maybe even, you know, run into one of the other two guys in our next match, Walter and Pete Dunne for the United Kingdom Championship. This one, another one. This one, Dave gave this one 4 3/4 stars. I mean, and this one was the second longest match of the night. This one went over just over 25 minutes, but Pete Dunne, I think he had the UK title for about 685 days, the longest reign of any champion anywhere in WWE. And it's finally come to an end thanks to Walter. What a match this was. This was brutal, like we expected it to. Walter has the meanest chops, arguably, in all of professional wrestling. And Pete Dunne is just amazing, too. Pete Dunne, a young guy who has another, you know, we talk about, you know, Matt Riddle having a bright future. Pete Dunne has a tremendously bright future in professional wrestling. And if I'm him, you know, he could be he's basically, in my opinion, right now, the face of the NXT UK brand. Walter is another guy that can be that face because he's very well known, but
well, speculation is he won't be the face of that brand much longer. They're speculating the title drop is the cue for the WWE main roster call-up.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you know, as bad as it sounds, you know, being called up to the main roster these days sounds like almost like career suicide. And look, unfortunately,
that is truth.
Unfortunately for some superstars, it kind of has been. Like, look at Ty Dillinger. You know, look at the Vaudevillains. Look at Bobby Roode. I mean, Bobby Roode's still hanging around, but come on now, like he should be. He could be in the main title picture.
I want to cry a little tear for Bobby Roode.
Marcus Talbot said, "If Hanson can do it, Mikey O, you're next."
Man, you don't even know, Marcus. There's no way this old man could do that.
But but with War Raiders, they retain the titles, and I you know, well deservedly so. They are probably arguably the best tag team to ever come through NXT. So so yeah, real happy that they retained. Even though I picked Aleister Black and Ricochet, I thought they were going to give those two guys the titles because they were in the SmackDown Tag Team title match at Mania. And what better way to give NXT some sort of exposure on the, you know, the grandest stage of them all by having the NXT Tag Team Champions, you know, in the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. And next thing you know, maybe they win. Of course, the Usos drop the titles to the Hardys on Tuesday night. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, you know, having the NXT titles on WrestleMania, I think that would have been a cool way to, you know, give NXT the a little bit of shine, so to speak. So
I wonder when they call them up, are they going to be a tag team or are they going to be individual performers?
I think eventually they're going to be
just watered down them being a tag team because they're both so unique.
Yeah, but you know what? WWE is famous for just kind of putting a couple of random guys together. They put, you know, Sheamus and Cesaro randomly together. Look how many times they won the tag team titles.
Yeah, no, but those dudes were just run of the mill. Mm-hmm. Like they weren't really doing anything. And these guys are like bona fide new stars.
And they just kind of threw Bobby Roode and Chad Gable together. Those guys won the tag team title. So WWE is not a stranger to just randomly throwing two people together in tag teams.
Like if anybody deserves his own run, it's Ricochet.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, come on.
But the thing about Ricochet, you know, and we had the discussion about 205 Live. If you send guys like Gargano, Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, if you send a chunk of these guys at one time to 205 Live, you could really really bring it some exposure. Don't just send one or two. Of course, I think Ricochet is way above 205 Live. So is Aleister Black. So is Johnny Gargano. So is Rey Mysterio. But
I think that might be what they might do, because I was reading on the internet this weekend, and you know how true the internet is. But essentially, Fox is wanting to pretty much do with WWE like they were doing with the UFC, and having a lot of different shows on their other networks.
Yeah.
So 205 Live could work on an FS1.
It could, but I think the best route for 205 Live, implement them with NXT. That to me, have a cruiserweight division in NXT. You extend it an hour, because you're starting to have some depth in NXT, and if you add 205 Live to that, you have plenty to do a 2-hour show, in my opinion, a 2-hour weekly show. NXT, you implement and just call it the cruiserweight division of NXT, and I think, and Triple H is running 205 Live too, so let him implement the cruiserweights into NXT, and I think you're going to have something really, really good there.
Yeah.
So, but back to NXT Takeover New York. Matt Riddle looked very impressive against the Velveteen Dream, although Velveteen Dream retained a title. Walter and Pete Dunne put on quite the show. Pete Dunne's historic reign is over. Walter is the new United Kingdom champion. I know Conrad Lee was not happy about the fact that the belt changed hands on American soil, but
suck it, Conrad.
And then the women's NXT Women's Championship, Shayna Baszler retained in the Fatal 4-Way against Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Kairi Sane. Couple of rumors about Io Shirai and Kairi Sane we're going to talk about in a little bit that I've been hearing about. I don't know if you've heard about it or not.
I don't know, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Well, we'll talk about that and coming up in a little bit. But that was another great match. I was hoping Io Shirai would win, because I love Io Shirai. She's really, really good. She, to me,
good at what?
Well, she's very beautiful, first of all, and second of all, she's, in my opinion, of those four that were in the ring, she's the best wrestler. In my opinion. And I have a feeling we're going to get to see a lot more of Io Shirai in the very near future on, the main roster. So I
just want to be done with Shayna Baszler. Like I've said it before, she's so boring to me.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. She's a good wrestler, but she does nothing for me. She's just she's almost plain.
She's not dynamic anywhere.
But she almost doesn't have to be, because she's kind of a certified badass.
Well, I mean, that's what they want you to think. What was her record in MMA?
I have no idea.
She didn't fight in the UFC. She was fighting in some smaller thing. So it's like, how do we know she's a certified badass?
Well, she comes off as a certified badass on NXT television, so if she looks at the part, she looks like a badass too, and she can wrestle, so I'll give her that. But just her character, it does nothing for me. So, and then the main event, NXT Championship, 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant NXT Championship. Neither one of these guys, Gargano or Adam Cole, had ever won the NXT. Adam Cole, baby.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Had never won the NXT Championship, so somebody was going to become a first-time champion. I think, let's see, Adam Cole won the first fall. Adam Cole Bebe won the first fall. Gargano got the second fall, and then the third. Now, the first 2 falls of this match, I think these 2 guys sort of coasted through the first 2 falls, because there was nothing really spectacular. I mean, it was good wrestling, don't get me wrong. Good wrestling at best. And then that third fall by itself was amazing. Just if you haven't seen that match, go back. And you can watch the first 2 falls, but just watch the third fall, man. The third fall was a tremendous match in itself. And going back to Walter and Pete Dunne, I said Meltzer gave them 4 3/4. He gave the women's title match 3 3/4, which I think it deserved.
He hates all the time on these women's matches.
I think it deserved a little bit better than that. I would have gave it a 4. I think it deserved at least a 4. All the matches were great. I mean, and Gargano and Adam Cole Bebe got 5.5 stars.
Really?
The first time ever a WWE match, Meltzer has given them more than 5 stars.
So he thought this was better than the first Gargano-Ciampa match?
Apparently, based on his ratings, yes. But, and there was a match that happened last year in January of 2018 at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia with Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas. That match right there was worthy of 5.5 stars, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that match got 5 stars, which it deserved it. And but this match right here, just the third fall was amazing. So I think, if you go bell to bell, and I'm talking like first bell, the beginning of the match to the third and final fall, overall it wasn't 5.5 stars. I think the third fall by itself was probably worthy of 5.5 stars. But the whole match as a whole, I would have gave it 4.5. Because if you, I would have gave it 4.5 based on all 3 falls combined overall. Because like I said, the first 2 falls they just kind of coasted through, nothing too spectacular for NXT standards. That is, I mean, it was good wrestling, like I said, but nonetheless, Gargano came up top, won the NXT Championship over Adam Cole, Bay. So, Johnny Gargano, your new NXT champion. There was rumors of him maybe going to 205 Live or going to the main roster, but now he's NXT champ. So, certainly I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. A lot of people are talking about the Undisputed Era maybe making that main roster debut now, and we haven't seen them yet, but time will tell. So, I don't know if and when we'll see them. Well, I think we will see them on the main roster at some point. When? Who knows? But it may or may not be here in the Superstar Shakeup coming on Monday. So, very interesting stuff there. All right. So we've been on for now almost 20 minutes now. So, so NXT. So I want to try and fit everything in. But NXT Takeover, absolutely amazing.
Yes.
Wonderful show. If you have not seen any of the matches yet, go back and watch the show. It was the show of the weekend, in my opinion. Marcus Talbert says, and the only person in NXT to hold all the men's titles. Yeah, that's right. Gargano. So Gargano is Johnny Wrestling, man. There you go. All right, let's move on over now to, if I could change the graphic here.
Is Sleepy Angel still with us, or did she go to sleep?
Well, he or she may have fallen asleep. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a dude and your handle is Sleepy Angel, come on.
I hope it's a girl. It'd be nice to have a nice little, better ratio in here. It's all dudes all the time. I mean, I love the Amp Nation, all the dudes out there, but hey, man, get some girls in here sometimes. We ain't PG. I mean, we PG, but sometimes. Tomo Hacks on on Twitch. ¿Habláis español? No hablo español.
No, let me take care of this, Patrick.
Okay. Hold on, we got some more here. Go ahead.
¿De dónde el baño para mi malo mono, señor?
Dude, what does that mean?
Where's the bathroom for my bad monkey, sir?
Oh, okay. Where'd you learn that? Some more. We got a couple of Spanish guys or gals here in the chat. So,
man, that's what we do. We're international.
Yeah, we are international. Habláis bien español. Look, I guess he said you speak English well. Or
no, hablo español un poquito.
Oh, there you go. So, me no muy bien, no muy bien. I went to Colombia a couple of years ago. Boy,
how was that?
That language barrier was strong. I tell you what. I tell you what, man.
The people at the resort didn't speak English?
No. Absolutely no, man.
You think that would be like...
They spoke a little English, but it was very broken English.
Did you ask them if they spoke English?
Well, Termo Hacks, you have new followers. We appreciate it. Termo Hacks and Diddy YT0.
Oh, right on. Thanks, guys.
We appreciate that. If you hit that subscribe or follow button, it should pop up here above my head.
Muy gracias.
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, where'd it go? Hold on. We going? Oh, there it is. Yeah, it'll pop up right here above my head. Let me move it on over.
Right above his cabeza.
Right above my head. So, all right, let's move now on over to G1 SuperCard. We got the graphic up right there.
Look at that, Bang.
On the TV.
We're hitting international here.
That's right. Come on, Bang. Throw some money. All right, so G1 SuperCard, a lot to talk about G1 SuperCard, so we're going to dive right into it. The Honor Rumble. The winner was Kenny King, but I'll tell you what, Brink and Cruz right now, they're not happy about that because you know who the final person he eliminated was, right?
No.
The Great Muta. The Great Muta. The Great Muta.
How is that guy still wrestling?
He
is he in the 60s?
Oh, look, here we go. We got let's see, Trumo Hacks. Now following us. We appreciate you, Trumo Hacks.
Right on.
Appreciate you come and hang out.
Word.
But the Great Muta showed up. Yeah, man, the legendary Great Muta, one of the biggest Japanese wrestling stars ever.
Did he get Kenny with the green mist? Or anyone with the green
after
mist?
After the match.
After the match?
It was after the match because Kenny King, because we thought the Great Muta won, and Kenny King was still hidden outside the ring. So he came in, eliminated the Great Muta, but then after the match, the Great Muta, I guess, didn't like that, obviously.
I see,
and hit him with, I can't remember the color of the mist, because obviously the color of the mist in Japanese wrestling, the color of the mist, they do different things. I don't remember. I want to say it was red mist, maybe. Yeah. Or purple mist, maybe. I can't remember, but
whatever color it is, it's epic whenever it comes out of Muta's mouth.
Absolutely, yeah. So the Great Muta, big surprise there. He was the last entrant in this in that battle royal.
That's crazy.
And then let's see the 6-person women's tag, the dark match. Hazuki, Jenny Rose, and Kagetsu defeated Kimura, Gray, and Sakai. I didn't get that right on the on the card. I tell you what, on our scorecards for G1, I started off terribly, but boy, I came through in the end, man. The last 3 matches came through clutch.
You put on the rally cap.
Absolutely, I had to. First match, Jeff Cobb defeated Will Ospreay in a good match. Yes, Jeff Cobb is now the never openweight champion and the Ring of Honor World Television Champion. A little bit of a surprise there. I thought Will Ospreay was certainly going to win that. Roosh defeated Dalton Castle in what could be a record 15 seconds.
Yeah, that dude's an animal.
That was really, really quick.
Love
there.
that guy.
Kelly Klein, we got a title change for the Ring of Honor Women's of Honor Championship.
A long time coming.
Kelly Klein defeated Mayu Iwatani. And then, let's see here, the street fight. Flip Gordon, it turned into a 6-man tag street fight. Flip Gordon, Juice Robinson, and Mark Haskins defeated Bully Ray, Shane Taylor, and Silas Young.
Yes.
And then Dragon Lee is your new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, defeating Bandito and Taiji Ishimori.
Wow.
And then the IWGP World Tag Team titles and the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles were on the line here. Winner take all, another winner take all. Tama Tonga and Tongaloa came out on top of that. Now there was the interesting story about this match came after the match, and that's when I was at Brinks and me and him were watching it, and after the match it was. The match is over. Everybody's kind of getting ready to walk back to the back. They show the announcers, but you can see there, where they were set up. You could see the ring in the background, and you can see people after the match are still fighting. And Brink's like, somebody over there is still fighting, and we thought maybe somebody jumped the barricade because 10 minutes before, over at the Barclays, somebody jumped into the ring of the Hall of Fame and tackled Bret Hart, and that was a commotion. We'll talk about that in a little bit because Saturday night got crazy in the New York area. I don't know. The freaks were out in New York on Saturday night, but
freaks are out in New York all the time, 24/7, 365.
It's the city that never sleeps, but it needs a nap sometimes. So it
ain't napping during WrestleMania weekend.
No,
that's for sure.
It definitely was not napping during WrestleMania weekend. So we see people fighting after the match, but they're the cameras are not really showing it. And next thing you know, Brink's like.
Social media took over.
No, well, we weren't even looking on social media. We were just watching, and Brink's like, that guy looks like Enzo Amore. And then, 5 minutes later, he's like, I'm not so sure that wasn't Enzo Amore. And you can see in the back, and then you see this big, almost 7-foot tall dude that looks like Big Cass. And like I said, they weren't showing. They weren't focusing on what was happening at that moment. They were talking to the announcers, getting ready to go to the next match. It's as if it wasn't a part of the show, which it still may or may not have been. The jury is still out on that, I think.
I don't know about that.
But we could discuss that here in a little bit. And I see him Big Cass, and he's flipping the birds and everything. And sure enough, I get on social media, and I search Enzo Amore, and there's people there saying Enzo and Cass just, crashed the G1 SuperCard. And now, and I tell you what, if these dudes went into business for themselves, it's kind of smart if you think about it because everyone was talking about them. They've put out a video now. They're now the free agents. Enzo is now Enzo, like the letter N, Z-O, and then Cass is like, what, Big Cass XL now or something
Cass
like
XL.
Cass XL. So, I don't know if they're going into business for themselves. There's been rumors that they signed with Ring of Honor. There's been rumors now that they haven't signed yet with Ring of Honor. I don't know. So we don't know what's going on with Big Cass and Enzo right now. All we know is they attacked the Briscoes, and Bully Ray came out there and was throwing Enzo around like a rag doll. And
yes, he was.
It was.
Well, I tell you what, Enzo was fighting one of the Briscoes, and he connected with one right that buckled the knees of one of those Briscoes.
And that's the thing. That's what made me
think.
He
looks so real.
That's what made me think it was this whole thing was a shoot because first of all, number one, Enzo has tried to crash a big event before in Survivor Series. Everybody remembers that. The only difference is this time he had Cass with him, which is what then led me to believe, well, this could be a work because there's been all these, they talk about Enzo and Cass outside of the business here, but and the fact is, when Enzo was at Survivor Series, he was wearing a disguise first of all, and then people noticed him before he started. It was during the tag team match that he started trying to hijack the show and start doing his little spiel. I'm the realest guy in the room and all this and that. And the security came and yanked him out of there, but. At Ring of Honor, to tell you what, the security looked like they were in no hurry to get rid of Big Cass and Cass XL and Enzo.
And so that shows me right there that it is storyline because they walked out of that arena like they owned it.
Yeah.
Like at the WWE event, like you said, they came and snatched him up quick. He had to run away from the security guards.
But then again, the way, of course, WWE security and Ring of Honor / New Japan security are a little different.
If someone is at your event and they're not welcome and they're beating up your wrestlers,
hell, WWE's security did a terrible job at the Hall of Fame. That guy got to Bret Hart. So.
Yeah, but you're telling your security guys over the radio, go get those dudes right now and F them up.
Yep. Well, Enzo and Cass, like I said, and I'm starting to think it's a work, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Obviously.
Oh yeah.
It's a work. I'm starting to think it's a work. So, but that was the big story out of that match. But Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa have retained. They retained the IWGP World Tag Team titles and then get the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi to retain the Rev Pro British Heavyweight title. Kota Ibushi defeated Tetsuya Naito, in my opinion, was the match of the night. So Kota Ibushi is the new IWGP Intercontinental Champion.
Nice.
So very well deserved there for Kota Ibushi.
Great hair.
Matt Taven. This was a really good match too. I found Meltzer only gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was a really good match. Matt Taven won the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight title in a three-way ladder match, defeating Jay Lethal and Marty Scurll. And then in the main event, which Dave, because it's New Japan, gave it 4 3/4 stars. Kazuchika Okada has now won back the IWGP Heavyweight title against Jay White. So Jay White, his first defense, he loses it to Kazuchika Okada. So we'll see now how long Kazuchika Okada goes with the belt, because obviously I think New Japan originally had Kenny Omega, holding that belt for a long time, and then Kenny took its talents to AEW, and now I guess they were kind of trying to shuffle around the belt. Well, let's give it back to Kazuchika Okada and see what he can do with it now, because obviously Kazuchika Okada is, in my opinion, still the biggest star in New Japan right now.
Yeah.
And now the new IWGP Heavyweight Champion.
But I tell you what, how quick has the rise been of Matt Taven? This guy,
I tell you what, that crowd did not like Matt Taven at all.
No, because who is Matt Taven? He hasn't established himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got to pimp up a dude like this to, I guess his storyline has to be nurtured. You can't just throw him in there and have him beat a dude that's been the champion forever. This guy was the Yahoo that was challenging John Cena to come to Evolve and wrestle him.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think would happen, bro? Like, John Cena's not laying down to you at an Evolve match.
No way.
He's going to come in there and shoot on you and beat the crap out of you.
Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah, that's what it went down. Let's see, who is Matt Taven? What? Oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why did this guy win the belt?
Well, Matt Taven, yeah, he's the new Ring of Honor World Champion.
They're
so.
smoking crack.
Yeah, well, let's see. When is Ring of Honor? I'm looking up Ring of Honor's next big event here. They got tonight. They got Steel City Excellence in Pittsburgh. They got Masters of the Craft coming up tomorrow. Let's see. Where's their big? I'm not even really too familiar with their big events.
Once AEW starts touring, they're not going to give a crap about ROH.
Yeah, probably not. The Crockett Cup coming up on also 4/27. Let's see what's happening here. They got the lineup. Here's the lineup. Let's see. Yeah, the Villain Enterprises taking on Jay Lethal, Jeff Cobb, John Gresham. This is, I think, going on tonight, as a matter of fact. Bandito and Shane Taylor, PJ Black and Eli Ism, Lifeblood versus The Kingdom, and the Briscoes versus Caristico and Saberano Jr. Is that how you say that?
I don't know.
So that's what's happening tonight with Ring of Honor. So yeah, G1 SuperCard, great show. Obviously, I think the big story out of that, everybody was talking about, was the Cass and Enzo, and are they with Ring of Honor? And if they sign with Ring of Honor, could we see them in New Japan? Who knows? It's going to be interesting to see where they end up. All right, let's go now to.
How we doing on time here, Patrick?
Let's see. I'm trying to think. We're about 32 minutes in, so
okay.
So
gotcha.
we still got some time. We making good timing here. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
The Hall of Fame, obviously,
boring except for 10 minutes.
This is what Marcus Talbot said. Can't wait to see what y'all got to say about Triple H taking shots at AEW and Bullet Club. Well, we can talk about that here in a minute. But first, the big story from the Hall of Fame was this guy that ran into the ring and tackled Bret Hart. And and I heard someone talking about this, and it's crazy. This guy hops in the ring, and just as quick, I guess Travis Brown must have seen that dude coming, because Travis Brown got in that ring and almost beat the dude to Bret Hart, because obviously the dude,
well, he would have if he wouldn't have tripped on the ropes.
But yeah, well, You talking about Travis Brown?
Yeah.
Well, he tripped on something. It wasn't because where he came in at, there was no ropes in the front.
Oh, there weren't?
But he might have tripped on the side of the podium or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he came in real quick and he got a shot in on the old boy.
Dude, if he'd have been able to get like a ground and pound on that guy.
Davey Boy Smith Jr. Well, when Travis Brown was one of the first ones there, I think New Day was probably next up.
Shane McMahon was right there with Travis.
Shane jumped in there too. You mean the guy you got the Dawson. Well, Dawson got his shot in later, so we're gonna try and take you through it here. So the guy gets in the ring, Travis Brown hops in, Shane McMahon hops in, and then like the New Day kind of come up too on the side of the ring. They're trying to grab I think Natalya because Natalya I was kind of in the shuffle too, so they try and grab Natalya out the way. I think they got Bret Hart out of the way. Saw Drake Maverick came in
like he was gonna do something.
Heath Slater came in.
Step back, little man. The big guy's got it.
Well, Heath Slater came in, and it was crazy, and then like. And 10 guys, hauled him out of there, and then I think Dawson saw it.
But before that, Travis Brown got 5 good shots on him.
I saw Travis Brown get 1 good shot. Davey Boy Smith Jr. was in there with his gold pants he had on. He was in there, and he was trying to get after this guy. He didn't care who was in his way. I think Davey Boy Smith Jr. got a couple of shots in on old boy.
He got about 3 or 4.
And apparently this guy was an MMA fighter. I can't remember his name, Alex Madsen or something like that.
Yeah, but he's a scrub MMA fighter.
Yeah, well, I've never heard of him, so I mean. Yeah, and I don't know. Braun was late to the party. Yeah, Braun was late, but dude, there was at least like 10 people that jumped on this dude before, like, and then, even Dash had to come in after the fact, after they were carrying him out, and Dash just kind of walks up and kind of grabs him and just smacks him in the face, and he walks off like he's like, I just wanted to get my shot in. And
while he's wearing
a Bret Hart jacket.
A Bret Hart gear.
Yes, or was it Hart Foundation?
Hart Foundation.
It was a Hart Foundation jacket he was wearing, so yeah, Dash was like, not on my watch, brother. So, but the good news is the guy was taken out, the crowd started chanting a-hole at the guy, which well-deserved. I mean, come on now, let's be real. And now, one more thing, and now, unfortunately, for fans who have loved attending the Hall of Fame, that may be no more because of this guy. I'm pretty sure now Vince is, and I've read a thing that Vince is considering not allowing fans at the Hall of Fame, which, one bad apple is going to ruin it for the rest, and I would not be surprised if it's just, employees, family, friends. You have to be invited to the Hall of Fame. I feel like that's the direction they're going to go in from now on.
That would suck.
Yeah, and because the Hall of Fame is really, people who've been watching wrestling a long, long time and know a lot of these guys that are going into the Hall of Fame, and like even nowadays, like as young as I am, I remember DX, Torrie Wilson and stuff. So I remember every year there's even people that young guys like me will remember from when I started watching wrestling back in the late 90s and stuff like that. Now, speaking of DX, they were obviously the headliners of the event.
Oh, wait, before we get into that, let's keep talking about this a little bit.
Okay.
You saw the dude's mugshot, right?
Okay, so
why was this guy not screwed up more than he was?
Well,
they had the fake mugshot, and then they had the real one.
Okay, so the fake mugshot was the guy that was all messed up, but the real mugshot was just
the regular guy.
Well, I heard this guy got arrested before, so maybe was that his old mugshot? Maybe. I don't know, but I sure would have loved to see him messed up. Like they brought him into the back room and just tuned him up. Yeah, then Marcus said, and when they asked him why he did it, he said it felt right.
Yeah, he said it just felt right.
It felt like the right. I don't know. I don't know what made him feel
did those 5 right hands from Travis Brown feel right?
Yeah, it was certainly it was wild because I'm watching G1 SuperCard and I'm looking on Twitter too. I'm just reading wrestling Twitter, and I see Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com. Like and I thought he was watching G1 SuperCard, and I remember because it happened in the middle of the Women of Honor Championship match, and he tweets, "Oh my God, what just happened?" Mm-hmm. And I'm like, something big's about to happen maybe on this match, and I keep watching. I'm like, well, and then like I start seeing stuff from the Hall of Fame, and I'm like, oh, something must have happened to the Hall of Fame. And sure enough, I went back and looked, and I saw what happened to the Hall of Fame. So
now I'm kind of disappointed in Natalie. She turned around, and I thought she had enough time to clock this dude.
Well, she probably, first of all, wasn't expecting it, caught off guard, and she was, I don't know. I mean, if you're Natalya, you never know what's going through her mind at that time. It's probably a very emotional moment. She's trying to induct her dad as part of the Hart Foundation, and just probably so much stuff ran through her mind at that point that she just couldn't even react. And, guys like Travis Brown who are not, and Shane, who are just sitting there trying to enjoy the show, and they see what's happening. They realize, oh, crap, we need to go get this guy. And they run in and, get rid of this guy. and as well as everybody else that hopped in.
I would
there.
have loved to have seen Shane throw a punch. He didn't, but I would have loved to see him.
No, he was just probably Shane, but Shane's probably very careful about that. Shane would just want to run in there and get that guy out of there.
Yeah.
Travis Brown did not care, but I guarantee you, and Brink said it too, Travis Brown is now in WWE's good graces. If he wasn't before, I'm not saying he wasn't, but he's definitely in good graces with WWE. I mean, he was the first one in there to grab this guy, and kudos to Travis Brown for that. Newfound respect for Travis Brown, certainly for running in there and trying to get this guy before he can do some damage to Brett.
Like, if I'm the police officer, I'm like, okay, before we bring this dude to the station, Brett's got to talk to him.
Oh, well.
We would let Brett tune him up a little bit.
No, I mean, look, 20 years ago, they would probably let Brett, but Brett's getting up there.
Apparently, he's got a heck of a right.
Well,
Vince McMahon can contest.
Well, that was way back when, but Brett, since then he suffered a stroke. He's been a cancer survivor and stuff, and Brett's just getting up there in age, and I wouldn't, just let the guys take, because I don't think Brett, I don't think was really phased. He got thrown to the ground, and sure, he's taken many bumps in his career. I'm sure that was nothing for Brett. And other than that, Marcus said he did. He threw a few punches at first. I did see Travis Brown throw some punches. He grabbed him and throw a punch when they had him down. Yeah, I did see that. So, but as far as Brett goes, I think that guy took a few shots. Trust me.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't look like it, I think he was probably feeling it, because when you take certain shots, your head may not swell up eventually, like when he took, but probably the next day he was definitely feeling something, I'm sure.
So hopefully there's some wrestling fans wherever he got locked up too. Now, one more thing about this. Mm-hmm. A writer got fired because Bret Hart said Vince McMahon.
Was it because Bret said Vince McMahon?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't remember.
And the writer knew he was going to say Vince McMahon and gave him the green light to say it, because Vince does not want his name ever spoken at a Hall of Fame event.
Yep, and DX made that perfectly clear. And
a lot of people were giving heat to DX because they thought they were doing that, kind of like jabbing at the writer getting fired, like, hey, look, we can say this and nothing's going to happen.
Well, I don't know, but that to me, that just seemed like a DX thing to do.
Yeah.
Like break the, obviously they've been known to break the rules, and why not break the rules one final time? The biggest rule probably of all: don't mention Vince McMahon in the Hall of Fame. And they did. They said his name probably 100 times.
Yeah.
But
they call her China, or they call her Joni?
They said China.
Okay.
Or I think X-Pac, said her first name at some point.
Yeah.
And also X-Pac said something about, we have an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I think the China Women's Battle Royal has a pretty good ring to it. And,
see, I don't know, because she left in such bad circumstances.
Well, she's now she's a member of the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah, but she was doing porn and she was doing all these other stuff.
Well, half of Tori Wilson posed for Playboy, so
yeah, but that's different. She didn't paint herself up green like the She-Hulk.
Yeah, her mom was there, because I did see a picture. The New Age Outlaws took a photo with China's mom, and I saw that posted on Facebook earlier this week. But Marcus said something about he can't fire Billy. Let's talk about that for
You're dang right he can't.
For a second. So
That'd
Billy,
have been great if he would have ripped open an AEW shirt.
Yeah, so obviously Billy Gunn is now a member of AEW, and Triple H, and Billy Gunn stated it first, but then Triple H did take an initial jab talking about executive vice presidents, and just because you put your name in front of he said something he took a little shot at the 4 executive vice presidents at AEW, I believe, even though he didn't say AEW. And then Billy Gunn added fuel to the fire and was talking about, hey, you can't fire me. And then he said something along, Vince will buy that pissant company just to fire you again, or something like that. So, and
I'm going to have to go back and watch that.
And look, as far as I'm concerned...
Is it on the network?
Yeah, it's on the network.
Okay.
Yeah. It's and look, as far as I'm concerned, I have no problem with what Triple H said, because you know what? Like, all these other companies always mentioning WWE, this and that. And if all these other companies can mention WWE, why can't WWE mention? And that's the thing. He didn't even mention them by name. He just, and then Billy Gunn kind of brought it up first, and
because they know in 2 or 3 years it's going to be like another Monday Night War. Like this is going to be major competition.
Marcus said yes, it's on the network for $9.99. So,
well, I mean, I already got the network. I didn't watch it because I think the Hall of Fame is absolutely boring.
It was it wasn't.
It's like fishing. It's terrible.
Well, in the middle of it wasn't boring on Saturday night. I tell you what, it got exciting real quick. But maybe that's why the dude attacked Bret Hart. He's like, man, this is boring. I need to do something here.
He was trying to self-gloss. He was trying to make a name for himself.
Yeah, well, he didn't do a very good job.
He got beat up.
It was a wrong way to do it. But Triple H, I have no problem with what he said about it because right now, compared to WWE, guess what? It's a pissant company. Mm-hmm. They have not had a show yet. They have not had
Tony Khan doesn't think so.
Well, Tony Khan doesn't think so. But
billions of dollars.
Well, look, based on, where WWE is at this let's just go back to Saturday night. Based on where WWE was on Saturday night and based on where AEW was Saturday night, yes, compared to WWE, they are a pissant company. But they're going to build it up and it's going to be a great alternative. They're not going to put WWE out of business. WWE's not going to put them out of business. It's going to be, the AEW is going to be that company that targets an audience like me, older guys and girls like me and you, whereas WWE is going to continue to, go towards the kids route. They're going to focus towards the kids. Marcus Talbot, then Shawn Michaels thanked him for being all in. I remember that too.
Oh, snap!
That was a good shot too. So, but you know what? I don't care. Let them post. And first of all, they're playing the role of DX, and let's not forget that DX went and invaded WCW Monday Nitro. So this is not the first time that DX has certainly taken shots, proverbial shots at other companies. So
that has to be one of the best angles of all time.
Yeah, first of all, DX was taking shots at other companies before it was cool. Of course, WCW kind of did start it when they would always take shots at WWE, given given
results of their matches
and eventually came back to bite them in the butt whenever they were talking about how Mankind was going to win the WWE Championship. So all the fans tuned over to Monday Night Raw. Raw won those ratings and never looked back after that. Yep. So be careful talking about WWE like that because
don't hire Bischoff, Cody.
Yeah. Let's see. Marcus also said my favorite part is when the crowd. I guess the crowd started screaming, whoop, whoop, too sweet. Triple H was like, I always hated that. That's so stupid. Let them do their thing. We going to do ours, I guess is what he meant. So let AEW do their thing. Let WWE do their thing. If they want to take proverbial shots at one another, fine. It's all, it's cool. Like, I know we got the AEW marks out there. I know we got WWE marks out there. I like them both. I'm going to watch them both. I'm going to support them both. I hope they both succeed. And it's fun. To me, it's fun to watch companies poke fun at one another like that. So it's not like they're doing anything to, and then, of course, AEW reacted on being the elite. One of their titles of their latest shows was Pissant. I mean, obviously, where would you get that from? So yeah, but the Hall of Fame, very interesting night. To say the least. So we're getting ready. We got about 14 minutes left. So let's talk about WrestleMania now. Let's talk about the last bit of WrestleMania. Let's go over the card here. What a night it was at MetLife Stadium. Tony Nese defeated Buddy Murphy to become the new Cruiserweight champion.
Didn't see that coming.
Carmella won the Women's Battle Royal. Another one thing you probably did not see coming, although I saw it coming. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Kurt Hawkins ends his 269-match losing streak, and they defeat the Revival to win the Raw Tag Team Championships. Braun Strowman won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Seth Rollins, your new Universal Champion. AJ Styles defeated Randy Orton. Jimmy and Jey Uso, they retained the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Shane McMahon defeated The Miz in a match that, first of all, Dave gave it 1 3/4 stars. I think it deserved a little bit more than that.
That's hilarious.
We also got a special appearance from Mr. Miz, George Mizanin. Oh, my God, I loved it. I thought that was hilarious. And there's so many memes now of just George Mizanin
and his Partridge Family
just
mullet.
Like, yeah, come on, Shane. It was great. Poor George Mizanin. They call him Potato Face, and the sad thing is he looks like it. Like he looks like SpongeBob's dad. Yeah. He really does. Like if you ever seen the SpongeBob episode with his parents?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, dude, go look it up. It's crazy. But the Miz, one of the crazier spots of the night, Miz suplexed Shane off of this tall cart, I guess camera cart, whatever you want to call it. And the way they landed, Shane landed on top of the Miz, and the referee went down there, counted to 3. That was it. Shane won the match. So
you think that was botched, or you think that was planned?
No, I think that was planned.
Okay.
New women's tag team champions, the Iconics, won. We have some more to talk about that match coming up here a little bit. Kofi Kingston, your new WWE World Champion. This match got 4.5 stars, arguably the best match of the night.
I don't get it.
Samoa Joe defeated Rey Mysterio in a match where I don't think Dave gave it any stars because it lasted a minute. Roman Reigns defeated Drew McIntyre. He gave that 2 stars.
Dang.
Triple H defeated Batista, so Triple H doesn't have to retire. Batista's final match, he gave that 2 stars.
Who would have known, huh?
Baron Corbin defeated Kurt Angle in a match he gave 1 star. Finn Balor defeated Bobby Lashley to become the new Intercontinental Champion. Give that 1.25. And Becky Lynch, yeah, I know, dude. He showed no love to these matches. And granted, these matches were bell-to-bell wrestling, not as good as a New Japan or in the NXT, but it's more about story, you know.
And that's such a shame because you own NXT.
Yeah,
and
right.
it outshines your main roster every single time.
Yeah, they do. And then Becky Lynch defeated Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. She pinned Ronda Rousey in what, honestly, most people believe was not supposed to happen. She was supposed to tap out Charlotte Flair. So we'll talk all about that. But some of the big stories coming out of WrestleMania, first of all, 7 title changes. You had an 8th title change on Tuesday night when the SmackDown Tag Team titles changed hands. The Hardy Boys are now the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. But one of the big stories that a lot of folks have been talking about was Bayley and Sasha's displeasure of losing the women's tag team titles. Apparently, they were informed very, very late. I guess as far as late as like Sunday afternoon. Hey, you're dropping the women's tag team titles to the Iconics, and this is what they're saying. I don't know if it's true. Apparently, after the match, Sasha and Bayley were backstage, laying on the floor in the locker room and being very loud about their displeasure of losing the tag team titles, and they were doing the same thing at the hotel. They were laying out in front of their hotel room or in their hotel room on the floor, screaming and hollering about their displeasure.
Laying on the floor?
That's what I've been told, but then now people, are disputing those rumors, saying that they were unhappy because apparently I think Sasha posted a picture with the Iconics, kind of congratulating them, and then there was a picture of Sasha and Bayley. I think they were out in the crowd after the match, enjoying WrestleMania or something along those lines. I don't know if those were real or fake, but I did see somebody post something about that. But man, talk about, I don't know if that rumor is true about them laying on the ground and announcing their displeasure. I mean, come on, let's. If that's true, then they're just being immature.
Like, you work for this company, like
they're paying your paycheck, so you got to do whatever they say. I mean, granted, and you know what? The thing about WWE, and this is ultimately their downfall.
You're not Shawn Michaels.
This is ultimately going to be their downfall. They have too many superstars and not enough spots in the spotlight for everybody all the time, and I think Sasha and Bayley, they wanted to have a long title run to legitimize the titles, and of course Bayley took the pin, so Sasha didn't even take the pin. So if anybody should be upset, I mean, I would think it would be Bayley, but I mean, let's be honest.
I mean, you can be upset, because you have aspirations of what you want to do with the titles, but doing all this, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you don't own this company. Like, sit back and know your role.
Yeah.
She also supposedly, I don't know how true this is, but I read this, that she unfollowed WWE on Twitter and followed AEW.
I haven't seen that personally, but I've seen a lot of people say that. And I mean, obviously, that would be as easy as going and look at Sasha Banks' followers, seeing WWE not on that list and seeing AEW on that list. So I haven't personally confirmed it, but if that's the case, you never know. You never know, because nowadays, and then they got talks of them being unhappy. I think Rusev put out a tweet. I don't know if this was. I saw somebody.
Everyone on their roster is unhappy. It seems.
Yeah, it's like nobody's happy unless you're a champion. You're not happy in WWE.
Unless you're Roman Reigns.
That's about it.
But you know what? The one thing I didn't get about that match, and we both love the Iconics, and the Amp Nation is solely behind the Iconics, but mainly because they're hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're good, right? They put on a good match too.
They come out from NXT, and you book them as some serious contenders. They come out and they beat the crap out of Charlotte Flair, right? And they say, hey, we're the Iconics and we're here. We're ready to wreck shop.
Yeah.
But then you start booking them as some prissy females that just get like thrown around like rag dolls at different events, and now all of a sudden they're your champions. You didn't build them up to be champions. That's what I would be most upset about if I was Sasha and Bayley. Like, how can you book these guys to beat us? We've legitimized ourselves as superstars and of great wrestlers and people who can hold the title. And then, but you're booking these like a bunch of like pushovers, and they beat us.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's where I can see frustration.
Yeah, and I suppose so. Put the WrestleMania logo up right there. So that was one of the big stories coming out of WrestleMania. Another big story was the finish to the main event. Obviously, I don't think Becky was supposed to pin Ronda, because if you go back and watch that pin, Ronda got her shoulders up after the 1 count, got her shoulders up, but then like Becky kind of pinned her back down. The referee just kept counting to 3, and that was it. And I think the referee actually got fined for it. And, it sucks because it was a historic main event, and they botched the ending. Granted, the right winner came out, but I think it took away a little bit from the fan reaction, because I don't think the fans were expecting it to happen right then and there. You get to the point where Becky, you get Charlotte in the disarmor. The fans are now, we're waiting for the tap. We're waiting for the tap. And then the second Charlotte taps, they go crazy in MetLife Stadium. Now, granted, I'm sure some of them went crazy in MetLife Stadium, but now I don't know how much longer that match was supposed to go on. Probably not too much longer, but, man, I tell you what, it was a good night at WrestleMania. Everybody that we wanted to win, as a fans as a whole, Seth Rollins, Kofi Kingston, and Becky Lynch, the big three there. Zack Ryder and Hawkins won. Who else? The feel good. Triple H won.
I got a big problem with the Zack Ryder and Hawkins thing too.
You're not a fan of that?
No, man. It's like, dude, you booked this guy as a joke his whole career. Obviously, both of them kind of as a quasi joke, and now they team up and they're great.
When they've been smacked, I think it was World Tag Team Champions before.
I don't get it.
Look,
like all of a sudden they're good. Like together they're good.
Well, you know how WWE books things. They just
did you expect us to forget that they were terrible alone?
Surprisingly enough, they honestly want you to forget that they ever sucked, because WWE has no long-term memory when they book things. No long-term memory at all. So
the dude whoever came up with that idea and creative should be fired.
Now, Seth Rollins, of course, won the Universal Championship. They came out first. Alexa Bliss came out, brought out Hulk Hogan, to start the show, get everybody fired up a little bit, and then Heyman makes a beeline to the ring to Hulk Hogan's theme music. And
didn't you say Hulk Hogan messed up the name? Or somebody was saying that.
Apparently, he said MetLife Center or something. He said he messed it up. Now, he intentionally said Silverdome at first, because to make the joke back at the Superdome when he said Silverdome.
Yeah.
But I think he actually said MetLife Center or something like that, or so. He didn't actually say MetLife Stadium maybe or something like that. Well, then Heyman comes out, and apparently, Brock was legitimately showed up there and was like, I want to go on last. And they said, you're not going on last. And he said, well, if I'm not going on last, I want to go on first. And that's when Heyman went out there and demanded we going to go first. And then Brock beat up Seth before the match even started.
Beat the hell out of Seth.
He did, and then the match finally starts. The referee gets knocked out of the equation for a minute. Seth hits a low blow.
He rung the bells.
Three curb stomps later, Seth is the new Universal Champion. So I'm just excited that the Universal Championship is off of Brock on Seth Rollins. So that was a very good way to start the show. When I saw them starting the show, I was thinking, there's no way they're going to start the show with Brock winning. There's no way. And sure enough, they didn't. And then, let's see, what else here? Baron Corbin defeated Kurt Angle. Yeah, I know you're not a fan of that, but
dude, I get the whole tradition is for you to put over talent on your last match, and traditionally the old stars have never won their last matches. But come on, man. I don't see where can Baron Corbin go from here? The dude sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just be honest. Nobody likes Baron Corbin.
No, they don't. But if they're going to build him as a heel, they're building him pretty good as a heel, because nobody likes him.
And I don't know.
He's a decent. I'll give him. He's a decent wrestler. That match, I watched that match. That match was actually decent, because Kurt was giving it, because Kurt knew it was his last match, and Kurt gave it his all. And I think that was actually a decent little match for the. Let's see what time it lasted. It lasted 5 minutes and 51 seconds. That was a solid little 5-minute match.
But nobody hates Baron Corbin in a good way. When people hated The Miz, that was in a good way.
Yeah.
People hate Baron because they hate him, like true hate, not like kayfabe hate.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's go and let the KZM listeners go.
Well, no,
it's about that time.
Well, you want to go ahead and we just wrap it up, because I think we pretty much covered, unless you got some more
you
stuff
don't have anything more to say? I know. I felt you were kind of getting rushed here.
No, we still got about 3 minutes, so we can get ready to wrap it up.
With the intro and outro, that's going to take up the 3 minutes.
All right. Well, we can, we can talk more about this next week.
Yeah,
if you want to, we can wrap it up. So we got some severe weather. We don't want to stay here too long, because it looks like it's getting kind of crazy out
Yeah,
there.
dude, that water is chopping like crazy.
So we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap it up here. We pretty much gave our thoughts on WrestleMania and everything, but obviously the Superstar Shakeup is coming up this week. We'll talk about that next week, and then also New Japan Pro Wrestling, Road to Wrestling Dontaku started this morning. That's happening. What?
I just started thinking of tacos.
Old School Cena was there too. Yes, that was another great moment too. So unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about that. So we're gonna get ready. Go ahead, wrap it up. Go ahead and take us home, man.
All right, follow us on social media at the AverageMarks on Twitter and Facebook. We would love to have you there. We post content all the time. AverageMarks.com is the website. Thanks for tuning in on Twitter. Periscope.
Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube.
Yeah. And also our KZM listeners here in Southwest Louisiana, 1310 AM. We appreciate you guys so much. All right, Patrick, get us out of here, son.
Outro.
You've been listening to the Average Marks Pro Wrestling Podcast with Michael Leander and Patrick Fry. All opinions discussed in the show are those of the Average Marks and do not represent any wrestling company, organization, or individual. For more information on the show, follow us on Twitter and iTunes. AMP is a proud member of the Roar Network, powered by thegorillaposition.com.